Just you keep getting set up. I just need to get myself set up. Just give me a second.
Dear listener, I've just found some jam on my sleeve.
Lovely.
Oh, Hamish can still hear me. Oh, no.
So I was thinking that obviously we can't be together right now. We can't be in the same place.
We're both very sad about this. I miss you dearly.
But maybe I could virtually join you. So I'm going to put on my VR headset and I'm going to get transported to next.
I'll clear some space for you. You're going to be here.
I'm loading in. Okay.
He's loading in.
Oh, okay, Wilkie. I think can you see me? I should be like I'm sat next to you, just on your right.
I can't see you, but I can see in D&D, right? When you do a scrying spell, there's like a floating eyeball. There's a floating eye that's appeared next to me.
Yeah, I'd appreciate if you didn't poke it. It is a little painful.
Oh, sorry. I assumed it was holographic. No, of course it's an extension of your being.
Yeah, there's big old haptic feedback. It was like I was being poked in the eye. Like my little headset just put 2 little pins in.
Oh God, okay. I'll be more careful. I'll be more careful.
Yeah, I paid more for it to be able to hurt me. That might seem counterintuitive, but it's worth it in the long run.
Yeah, no, in the long run, the health benefits, immersion. It's good for your gut flora.
Yes, I'm Wilkie. Okay, I didn't want to bring it up on the podcast. I am having some gut problems. Like. That's how I was able to get the VR headset. Like it's a medical thing.
You put it on the NHS.
You didn't have to.
Using a VR headset for half an hour is the equivalent of drinking a Yakult.
Yeah. So thank you very much, taxpayers. You've managed to get me an Oculus Quest 2. So
Oculus.
Yeah, it's a special version.
It's the medical version.
Yeah.
Okay. Brilliant. Okay, Hamish. I'm concerned that I'm using the wrong microphone. So I might have to export that as a separate bit of audio. Hold on. You might have to stop and resync.
Welcome back, everybody, to a little show we like to do here at the weekends, or as you call it, Thursday. It's, of course, Boy Review, hosted by me, Hamish.
And me, Wilkie. I took a sip of water right as you were leading into that, and I almost scuffed it.
Drowned.
Almost drowned, yeah. Serious business.
You can drown in a sip of water. I've heard of it. I've heard of drowning.
You've heard of drowning, have you?
Yeah, 3 years of lifeguard training, and I've heard of drowning.
Yeah,
that's what they teach you.
They teach you what drowning is.
That's it. In 3 years, you come out. Well, okay, they could have get you mentally prepared for the idea of drowning for 2.5 years, and then the final 6 months is telling you about drowning.
Yeah, because
before that, you don't know what it is.
It's a very scary concept, right? Drowning. So you gotta. It's mostly just making sure that you're cool, as a lifeguard, being near that sort of thing.
Yeah, because then you've got to get in the water.
Yeah.
Like the water is what is making people die. That was like if you asked me to dive into a bed of knives.
Yeah, like you see someone getting stabbed by a knife flaw, and you just throw yourself onto the knives. Like, why would you want to go in?
Exactly, but they teach you how to. Well, they don't teach you how to dive onto knives. For that, you need to ask like a magician.
Yeah.
But for the water, they teach you how to mentally prepare yourself to sort of fight water with water.
Yes.
Yes.
Otherwise known in the business, I believe, as swimming.
Okay, Wilkie, obviously you've also done this lifeguard training, so I'm just kind of preaching to the choir here. But
yeah,
for all the listeners out there, then they've learned something today.
They have.
Yeah, I hope so. That's Boy Review's motto. We hope you learned something.
We hope you learned something. Also, what was
be good to each other.
Be good to each other. Yes.
So, Wilkie, have you been up to anything this week? I know we always ask, and I know lockdown is very much one of those times where the answer is no.
It's very often just not much, yeah. It's been a nice week. It's been a nice week. We lots of the normal stuff that I talk about. We all cook for each other here in the house. So we had some nice food this week. It's nice getting to eat something that you didn't have to put any effort into, right? Like, because there's nights where I will cook and making food for 4 people isn't any more stressful than making food for one person. Like, it's just a bigger pot, right? Pretty much. And so cooking for 4 people is fun, and then the other 3 or 4 nights of the week when you're not cooking, 4 or 5 maybe, you don't have to put any effort in. So it feels great. We talked about cooking meals for other people like super early on, because it's good, and we both agree that cooking is good. Cooking was good back then. I think is what we landed on.
And I'd still agree that cooking is good. I'm with you there. It's nice to not have to cook for yourself, even if it's just sort of getting a takeaway or something. I know that adds an extra big cost to it all, but it's sometimes nice just to kick back, not have to worry about any of these chores of life. Yeah. It's chores, not fun. You have to do them.
Chores are not fun.
They're like a good bad. They're overall or a bad good.
Good bad. Like, you don't want to do them, but like you end up with a positive outcome at the end, I guess.
Do you ever anger chores? Because this might come back in something where I'm going to talk more about this film later on, but I watched Emperor's New Groove last night, and there's a scene where Pacha and his wife, whose name I've forgotten, the 2 of the main characters, are sort of arguing very briefly, and then she's like, I need to go and clean, and it's just like taking her anger out on the chores. And I could very much empathize with that attitude. If I'm ever annoyed or angry for any reason, it's like, you know what? I'm going to go and do the dishes. And that's when I have the fuel to just scrub away at that little bit of dirt, put it aside. Because then my anger's been useful, and I've put it into something where I can be like, yes, I've achieved.
See, I haven't been annoyed or angry much recently. Like, I can't think of a time recently when I got like really annoyed or angry. But like, on the flip side, like doing a nice bowl of washing up, like especially plates, like if you've got a big stack of dirty plates, that's very calming. So I can imagine that if I were angry, it could bring me down to a normal state. It's incredibly satisfying. You've got a big pile of plates and you just like, you're washing them and you're stacking them up and you get like a nice stegosaurus of plates, of clean plates in the drying rack. That's very satisfying.
Because also what helps me when I'm doing the chores is Izzy does come up and she sort of puts her hand on mine and she says the sun's getting real low, and that just brings me all the way back down to where I need to be.
Oh, that's cute. I thought it was going to be a Ghost, the film about the pottery film.
She just comes up behind me and sort of like washes the dishes as well. It's like I'm a 4-armed octopus.
Yeah, like Forearms from Ben 10.
Or like Forearms from Ben 10. Good show. Wilkie, did you watch much Ben 10?
Honestly, no, I didn't. It was occasionally on the telly when I was trying to watch something else, and that was pretty much it. I got into it, as in I thought it was cool, but I never like watched it regularly. It's just a funny thing to bring up.
No, I wholeheartedly agree. Again, Ben 10 is one of those things where it's like, cool, kids can turn into lots of different aliens. Fucking sick.
Yeah.
I'm not watching this though. I'm waiting for the next show.
Yeah, I actually wanted to watch The Simpsons. I just passed by this channel on my way to Channel 4 to watch The Simpsons. I finished a rewatch recently of Star Wars Rebels.
Ooh, okay. Yes.
Not Star Wars Resistance, which I've heard is bad. I kind of want to watch it anyway, just because like Star Wars content is Star Wars content, but Star Wars Resistance.
And it's one of those things where like in 5 years' time, there's going to be a film which has like a little reference to it. And like, if you want to understand who that little droid is, you need to watch this TV show. It's like,
yeah,
fuck, I already had to do that with Rebels and Clone Wars. Now I've got to do it with this other thing.
Yeah, finished a rewatch of Star Wars Rebels. You've seen Rebels, right?
I've seen Rebels. Yes, I spent quite a bit of lockdown getting through a bunch of the old the oldish Star Wars animated TV shows.
Yeah,
get caught up on
Rebels. Good. If you don't want spoilers for Rebels,
go somewhere else. We're going to talk about it. It's an old show.
We're going to skip ahead a little bit. Skip ahead a bit if you don't want spoilers for Rebels. But like the ending, I love the ending, right? I love all of Rebels, right? But it's hard to discuss all of Rebels in a shortish podcast, right? Coming up to the end, especially watching it with someone who'd never watched it before. So I was watching it because Malix and I had watched Rebels last term, and then we brought in Sophie and Malix's girlfriend Megan to watch it for the first time. and watching that final season with someone who doesn't know what's going on or like doesn't know what is going to happen, so much fun. The little bits of foreshadowing at the like when Thrawn speaks to the Bendu and Bendu's like, I foresee your defeat encircled like many arms, and I was like, that's gonna happen.
Well, I'm very excited about Rebels because obviously they're starting to incorporate some of those ideas into Mandalorian. That was part of the reason I wanted to watch it as well, because season 2 kind of touches on a few of these ideas.
It does, yeah.
So you get to see Ahsoka again, and she has her white lightsabers. There's a couple of references to the dark saber, which did appear in Clone Wars, but you get a bit more of it in Rebels. And then they've sort of talked about how Thrawn, there is going to probably be a live action version of the character, though not played by Benedict Cumberbatch because he says he doesn't want to do it.
I've heard he's being played by the voice actor, who I think is
I'd hope it would be someone
Mads
like that.
Mikkelsen's brother. I think Lars Mikkelsen is the name I have in my head. I might be wrong. He's brilliant. I love Thrawn. Lots of Thrawn impressions going on in the house recently.
Because I think he's such a cool villain. Because even at the end of the day, yeah, he gets defeated, but also it's in kind of a way of like, well, he's taken out of the fight. Like even once they've got him down to they can't like just defeat him in combat or whatever. They have to be like, you know what, we've just got to. He's too good. We've just got to take him so far out of the battlefield he can't do anything about it.
Yeah,
they have to basically sacrifice their last, well, at the time, their only Jedi on the Rebel force to then just bamf this guy out into space.
Yeah, into like the unknown regions. Yeah, it's such a cool ending because comparing Thrawn to someone like Vader, right? Like similar levels of like being the big bad of their respective series. Vader like famously goes around force choking people who disappoint him, right? And like pretty much like will just kill an Imperial officer if they screw up. Thrawn is really interesting because he gives people a chance, and he's like, look, if you come to me and you tell me that you screwed up, then that's fine, right? Because nobody's perfect. Like but then if you lie to him, if you sort of try to cover up the fact that you screwed up and try to like pull the wool over his eyes, he's far too smart for that. That's the point where he becomes disappointed in you. And he's ironically much more human compared like as like one of the only aliens in like the whole Empire. The Empire's thing is it's pretty much only humans.
Yeah, it's one of the that because I also like his sort of like tactical mind, his way that he'll let the rebels and other people that he's fighting have some victories because he knows that victory doesn't matter and it's just going to make their eventual defeat all the more sweet.
Yeah.
Because it was also just sort of like, oh, they think that's a victory, but actually that's made them cocky. They think they'll be able to pull the same trick again. So then they're going to try it again and we're going to
catch
get them on a much bigger thing.
A perfect example of Thrawn's policy of like own up to it and it's fine. That he sends out 100 of these scout droids, right? One of them does happen to land on Atalon. They reprogram it and send it back home, back to the ship to self-destruct when it docks. And they're like, yeah, we beat them, that we destroyed a Star Destroyer. But Thrawn says, well, clearly the rebels reprogrammed it. So it has to have been from one of the 100 planets we sent a droid to. Brilliant. They've just narrowed our search for us from any number of planets to just 100. And then we can start refining it from there.
And I think that's what makes him such a great villain. And I think, yeah, he is one of those parts which was very entertaining for the show. Very much like every show he was in, it's like, okay, I'll watch this one. There were some episodes of Rebels where I'd skip through, but overall I think it's still pretty good.
Yeah.
Maybe for me, not as good as Clone Wars, but I'd give it a strong, maybe like a bad good.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe that's being a bit mean.
It could be being a bit mean. There are definitely some duds. There's some filler towards the beginning.
Yeah,
but it gets good towards the end.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like over the whole, I'm thinking like over the whole season. It's over the whole series.
Yeah, 4 seasons. Yeah, a bad good because there's some duds, there's some filler. It's aimed at a little bit younger audience. People our age maybe aren't able to vibe with it as much. But like again, towards the end, pushes up to good. So it's definitely worth watching the thing. So I was thinking about talking about Rebels today, Hambo, because like I said, we recently finished our rewatch and it's on my mind. I was thinking about Star Wars today. I've been doing some world building for Terra. Coming up with some names for
your D&D campaign.
Yeah, my D&D world. Doing some names for skyships.
Ooh.
So I was looking at like various wikis. I was looking at the Star Wars wiki for like how they classify ships, as well as the Star Trek wiki. And this led me down a rabbit hole, and it gave me an idea for a quiz.
Okay.
In the style of my famous, as we mentioned before, award-winning World of Warcraft location or Kentucky Derby winner. And what it was going to be which one of these two characters is a Star Wars character. So I have an example here, and that is, so I give you two names, you tell me which one is the Star Wars character. This is just the example, so it's going to be easy. Kal-El or Cal Kestis?
I know that's Cal Kestis.
Yeah.
I think he's the Jedi from Fallen Order.
Yes,
the video game.
And then Kal-El is Superman. And I tried to make this quiz, right? We talked about my quizzes. We talked about maybe making them shorter for like this podcast format. I was going to do like 5 questions, and so if we have some banter in between. I only managed to do 1.
Yeah.
I only managed 1. I couldn't find any.
Oh no!
I couldn't find any names that were similar enough. But I have 1, and it's very good. And that is Bip Bippadotta or Depa Bilaba.
So it's Bip Bippadotta or Depa Bilaba.
Depa Bilaba.
Depa Bilaba.
Which one of those is a Star Wars character?
I can't, even now as I'm trying to say them back to myself, I can't remember what both of their names are. It's so, they're so confusing.
That's the thing, like, because Star Wars names have that pattern of just like being just made of like just a
noises in a row. I would have to say, I feel like Bip isn't enough of a Star Warsy thing. I feel like the second name is more Star Warsy.
You are correct. Depa Bilaba was Caleb Dume, later Kanan Jarrus's master.
Okay.
Anyone want to guess who Bip Bippadotta actually is? Because they are a real character.
Bip Bippadotta sounds like they'd be from something Disney related. Just I want to say, if it's from something like Upside Down Magic, I'm gonna flex. I feel like it'd be from that sort of show. It's like, here's your new professor, Bip Bippadotta.
You're not actually super far off. Bip Bippadotta is the guy who sings Mana Mana. You know, the purple hair, purple skin, orange hair Muppet.
Okay.
The guy who sings Mana Mana is named Bip Bippadotta. So
yeah.
that didn't go anywhere, right? That quiz didn't go anywhere because I couldn't find enough names that were similar enough, and also like that were funny enough to make like an interesting quiz. But I landed on something that I could make a quiz out of. Is this location from Star Wars or Lord of the Rings? I considered Star Wars or Star Trek, but I thought that would be too hard because it would just be the name of a planet and like just it would fully be a toss-up, right? So that would have been too difficult. So yes, Star Wars or Lord of the Rings. So I'm going to tell you the name of a location. You will tell me whether it's from Star Wars or Lord of the Rings, right? The leader of sci-fi versus the leader of fantasy, some would say.
I often position myself as the leader of fantasy. I come in and I'm like, you know what? I lead you nerds now.
Much like a dungeon master.
I come in with my big jacked up arms. I just throw dice at them.
Okay.
And all my dice say 20 on them. So whatever I roll, I get a 20. And they're like, well, I've just been crit. I guess I've lost. No.
You hit them right on the masking tape on their glasses, and it breaks them.
Actually, all my dice say 21. They can't even tie with me.
My D22.
Yeah. Oh no, you're like the chosen one.
Yeah. Swing. No, but the thing is, my D22 it goes up to 22 normally. So it's like everything you roll is a 21. I have a chance to roll a 22. And it's like the climactic moment at the end, and I roll a 22 and I beat.
So earlier in the film, you will have rolled like a 4.
Yeah, I rolled a 1 at the start of the film.
Yeah, and everyone's like, you can't do this. How can you not roll the best on your dice? You're so bad at random chance.
Woo! Also, put it in a microwave and like make it weighted because you're cheating, so I'm allowed to cheat. Okay, here we go. Question number 1. Formanos. I always repeat it. Like I always.
Star Wars
planet.
That's a Star Wars planet. Yeah, I think it's going to be all fiery.
Interesting guess. A gassy.
Gassy.
I'm a bit gassy right now.
Yeah, it's eating some beans for lunch. Yeah.
I'm afraid you are incorrect. Formonos is a city in Lord of the Rings.
Now, Wilkie, I'm going to give you a little hint about what Hambo knows about. I've seen 4 Lord of the Rings films. I've seen, 3.5. I've seen the first half of the first Lord of the Ring film.
Brilliant.
And I've seen all 3 of the Hobbit films. And I got to tell you, I know very little about that movie. Do you know what I can remember? I can remember 2 things. Actually, I remember 3 things. Because one thing appeared in the game. There was a big Spider Woman. I know of that.
There is.
I know that there's a guy called Frodo and the Shire. I know there's a fucking awesome scene where some dwarves and a hobbit go down a river in some barrels, and it's the best thing ever.
Barrel scene. Okay.
When it goes from 4K IMAX to little tiny GoPro, amazing. Wow. Michael Jackson does some good movies.
Wait, who?
I can't remember what his actual name is.
Peter Jackson, you idiot.
Okay.
Michael Jackson sure does know how to make a good movie, huh? Yeah, okay. Question number 2, okay? You can pull this one back, maybe. We'll see. Question number 2 is Chandrila.
That feels like a very Lord of the Rings thing. Like Chandrila. If you said it right, it would be sort of this sort of fancy
Shangri-La,
thing.
the place in real.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go against that though. I think this is a double bluff. I think it's a bluff. I think it's Star Wars.
You think it's Star Wars? Well, you are correct. Yeah. Chandrila is a planet from Star Wars.
Yeah.
Chandrila is the base of operations of Senator and later rebel leader Mon Mothma. Question number 3. You're on 1 point out of a possible 4, but we'll see. Question number 3 is Scipio.
Scipio? I think that sounds very stupid.
Okay.
So I think it's Star Wars. Because if it's in Lord of the Rings, then I'm going to feel... Well, I hope it's in Lord of the Rings, though, because I'm going to feel very vindicated. Because if there's a place called Scipio in Lord of the Rings, I'm going to just be able to turn around to people and be like, hey, explain to me Scipio. Why, if your place is Scipio and it can't be that great? Star Wars, it worked. But in fantasy, it just sounds too dumb. Yeah.
Scipio is the homeworld of the intergalactic banking clan, creators of the IG series assassin droids, the ones with the tall black heads, the scary ones. Next up, we have Waymeet.
Feels very Star Wars. Waymeet. I'm going to go to the planet Waymeet. But I think it also feels very fancy. So I'm going to say fancy because it sounds like way and meet. Feels like it might be a place where people go and gather. It might be near lots of places or on the route to lots of other places. So if you agree to go on an adventure with someone, you'd be like, yo, let's go to Waymeet. It's on the way and we should meet there.
So you're saying Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, I'm saying Lord of the Rings.
You are correct. Waymeet is a town in the West Farthing of the Shire. Not doing too badly, Hambo. It's pretty good. Final question is Maridun. Maridun.
So I think this is Star Wars because it sounds a bit like Maragil, which is a place from the D&D game we play. And so I think you're going to think, this is like fantasy. Hamish might think this is fantasy. So I'm going to say that it's not fantasy, it's sci-fi. And then you're going to turn around and be like, no, Hambo, you fucked up. But I think it's Star Wars.
Hamish, you're too good at this.
Yeah.
It's Star Wars.
Yeah.
You're right.
Did I even get what your thinking was to sort of try and trick me?
Almost, yeah. Like my thinking with all of this is I want to find ones that sort of sound like they bridge the gap between both genres.
Oh, they do. Like a lot of them do.
Maridun is a planet from the Clone Wars, a planet that we see in the Clone Wars, I should say. It's the home of a race of lemur people, aliens that look like lemurs, because technically they're not.
So I remember that episode because they're really pacifist, don't they? They don't want to fight and then Obi-Wan Kenobi's like, well, you have to fight them because if you just let them walk all over you, then they're going to just take what they want. Whereas if you can stand your ground.
Yeah,
that's
they're
really good.
Using they're testing because it's not the Empire, is it? Because obviously it's the Clone Wars, it's the droids, and they're testing out this anti-life bomb that they can shoot into, because obviously that doesn't affect droids, it only affects living matter.
Very scary.
and they're just testing it on the planet.
Yeah, and I think because they think it's an abandoned world, and then they find these things and they're like, oh, this is going to help us even more.
Yeah, because we can see if it actually works on living creatures.
Yeah, very scary. Well, Wilkie, that was a really, really good quiz, and it's fun to sort of see how what people watch inspires them to when they go back and watch things. Because I briefly mentioned at the beginning of the episode, I watched Emperor's New Groove yesterday evening.
You did.
It was very good. I don't know. I wanted to watch a film with Izzy. I think we'd watched parts of it another day, and then we finished it off yesterday. And it's just a good film. Just sort of going back. It's very simple. It's Emperor's new clothes, but what if he didn't go naked? He turned into a llama because it's a kid's film, and we cannot draw an animated dick. This is Disney.
We can't.
We
simply can't.
They'll sue us. Everyone will sue us.
Everyone who watches it will sue us.
It'll be like when
we can't afford that.
There was that Pokemon episode that had people who had seizures. Everyone will just come for Disney and they'll lose their top spot as everyone went for Pokemon. And now look at where Pokemon is. Failed. Gone. No one talks about Pokemon.
Ripped Pokemon. Pokemon, I'm dead.
But also then we have to go, well, we can't just end it with the guy walking around naked or walking around as a llama. We've got to show this guy can be redeemed. Let's teach people. We've also got to expand the story, because the story Emperor's New Clothes can be told in 5 minutes if you're a good reader. This needs to last for an hour and a half even.
Speed run the entirety of the story. So
we've got to get this out. And what they deliver, very good. A tight cast, but a banging cast, right? Perfect villain, Yzma. Evil, a little bit not good at her job. But just good enough that she's a threat, but not so good that she just wins. Kronk, best character Disney has ever made.
Kronk, A-star sidekick. So good. The Patrick Warburton impressions in this household. We haven't even watched Emperor's New Groove ever, I think. But the Patrick Warburton impressions are off the chain. It's like, oh yeah, it's all coming together.
There's so many memes. I'm like, it's all coming together. There's sort of meme. It's like me when it's all coming together. Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together. Hey, you tried my spinach puffs.
It's just every single line that comes out of that himbo's mouth is always what you expect.
He really is a himbo. He's the blueprint for a himbo. He's buff, clearly. He's dumb, apart from the times when he isn't, but he's mostly dumb. He's kind.
But he knows about nature and loves things.
Squeaker. Squeakity, squeakity, squeak. Squeaker.
Just he can talk to a squirrel. And then Cusco is this lovable asshole, just constantly doing the wrong thing. But also you've got to root for the guy just a little bit. At least I do.
You compared your D&D character Hermes to him, or at least I did in my head, and imagined that it was you that had said it to justify my feelings.
I think I said that.
And then I don't know who Kronk would Yannick be Kronk?
Yannick, yeah,
just because he's dumb and strong and kind.
And so and then Pacha obviously plays a great heel to Cusco, and I just think that it all ties together in a very neat way. It's a very quick plot, as I said. It's only an hour and a half long. It's animated, and it has a lot of fun with that animated premise. It's not like, say, Beauty and the Beast or Aladdin, where it feels like you're just watching a cartoonized version of an otherwise fairly real world with rules. Like apart from you got a singing clock, it's and like a magic carpet. But you know what I mean, like
the times when it like changes to the map that they're following. That sort of thing. Yeah,
or there's so much cartoon physics. Like no one falls to their death. You can fall as far as you want, and you will survive
just by something happening. I like if there was an RPG for playing like Disney animated films, that would be like one of the rules. Is like no matter how far you fall, something is at the bottom to catch you. You fall into water. You fall onto a traveling mattress salesman.
Someone's just ordered a trampoline, and
someone's just ordered a trampoline, and there it is. There's always something. You get caught by a especially bouncy tree that's going sideways off a cliff,
and flings you back up. And so I don't want to talk too much about Emperor's New Groove, because honestly, there's not too much more to say other than just go and watch it. There's no point recapping it, because then what would be the point? You'd miss out on stuff. And so I want to give it a good. I love that film.
I'm gonna have to agree with you. I'm gonna propose that we watch Emperor's New Groove tonight. You've just because it's you're so right, Hambo. It's absolutely a good film. That is going on the spreadsheet right now as we speak.
I'm doing it because also I've been wanting to watch some more Disney films because one of my favorite board games at the moment, and has been for a little while, is a game called Disney's Villainous, where you just play as different Disney villains and your goal is basically to enact that villain's evil plot. And so it's really cool because each villain is unique. I've just got an expansion for my birthday. And there is an expansion that I've also got my on that includes Yzma, and she has some special rules where she's trying to find Cusco. And I think I was just thinking about Emperor's New Groove so much that I wanted to watch it. And then the other thing that I've been doing this week, we did a bit about it at the beginning of the podcast. We haven't talked about it properly. I did get an Oculus Quest 2. And Wilkie, this has become the thing where I most want lockdown to end because of this headset.
Okay.
Because now I just want everyone that I know to be able to do VR and give it a go.
I'd love to give it a go. It looks so cool. I don't know what I would do in VR because I don't think I could do Beat Saber. I could probably give some of the easier levels a go, but I've done rhythm games before and I've never quite cracked them. Maybe it's different. Like, is there a massive difference, like, other than the obvious difference that it's in VR, like, between playing a game in VR and playing a game? What am I asking? I don't know what I'm asking. How different is it?
I'd say that the big difference is that it feels... I think VR is able to get away with a lot of things because it's so much more immersive. So I'm a bit like you. I like the idea of rhythm games, but I'm not particularly great at them. I think I'm a somewhat musical person, but particularly like the cool thing about rhythm games is being able to do them super duper fast because, you know, when you look at someone playing something like Guitar Hero, all they're doing is strumming away a plastic guitar. It's not actually that impressive. But then when you see someone that's doing something that's coming lightning fast towards them, you think that's when it becomes impressive.
Yeah, or something like I remember at my secondary school, I did Writing Society, and what Writing Society was you got access to a computer room for half an hour on a certain day, and the thing that most people would do is they go in there and they play games instead of writing. And this guy who sat in front of me would always play Osu. Osu is like a rhythm game where circles appear on the screen. You have to click them in order, and like they get faster.
I've seen that. Yeah, I remember
watching him play Osu. Was incredible. He was so fast. So yeah, they're very impressive, and it's you feel like you want to be good at them because, like, and I'm not without rhythm. I've been told I have good rhythm. I had to step in. I had to step in as the drummer, not like on a drum kit, but on like a bongo between my legs for like a little band when I was doing my exchange trip in Canada. I had to step in on the drums, and I was told I had good rhythm by the teacher.
Good.
Who's the teacher's the music teacher at this school. His name was Mr. Barbershon, and I was certain that his name was Mr. Barbershop, which is like the name of a cartoon music teacher because his name is Mr. Barbershop.
Yes, he's got 3 other brothers. They are the Barbershop Quartet.
But it was Barber. It was also quite funny because it's a double-barreled, I think, like Barber, like our friend, and then SHAWN, but which also means to have your hair cut. So that there's layers. Mr. Barber Sean.
I hadn't thought of that at all, but that's so funny. He messed up. He should have gone into the hairdressing business.
Yeah. It'd be like that scene from The Office. Is like, what's your dentist's name? Crentist. What's your hairdresser's name? Mr. Barber Sean. It's like, those are both words for cutting hair. Well, maybe that's why I became a hairdresser. Anyway, you want to talk about the Oculus Quest?
Yeah. So I think then, though, when it becomes VR and you're doing something like Beat Saber, sort of going back to it being impressive, it feels a lot cooler because you aren't strumming away a plastic thing. To you, when you're watching it, you are sort of slicing at these blocks as they come towards you. And like your whole vision, everywhere you look, you're in this tunnel-like space, and it feels very real for that reason. Even though, you know, you look down, you can't see yourself. You just sort of lose yourself in the music.
The moment.
In the moment, yeah, like Eminem.
You better never let it go.
And that's why it's so much fun. And it's that same feeling for a lot of these games. You just sort of get caught up in it. I've been playing, so Beat Saber is one of these games. I've got this rhythm game. I've got another game that's called Super Hot, which people might have seen, not in VR. Anyone that doesn't know, time only moves when you move. And so you're put in these encounters where you've got to take out various enemies that have their weapons and they're coming at you, they're trying to shoot you. Their bullets and everything only move when you do, but you've sort of got to plan it out. So you sort of duck out the way so you're not going to get shot. Then you can fire off at them, chuck a hammer at them and sort of move to then make the hammer progress towards them. It's so much fun to play something like that. But then you get caught up in it and it's like, you just sort of like see a bullet coming towards you and it can be this moment of fear, this honest moment of terror. And then you get shot. It's like, like it just does this big
like
sound.
A deer in the headlights?
Yeah.
Like those sorts of things being so much more real are like almost what I'm scared of about VR. Like the fun thing about, because I've still been playing a lot of Breath of the Wild. I recently got all of the great fairies. I did Var Rudania the other day. Var Rudania, a big lizard. But like the fun thing about that is that like it's all like third person and like I can move the camera and like it's obviously not me. But if I were playing Breath of the Wild in first person VR and I saw a guardian coming at me, I would not be able to hold my cool as I drew an ancient arrow to shoot it in the eye. I would lose my marbles, Hamish.
There are some of those moments where I have lost my marbles. A game I had to review for work, and the sort of the origin of a tweet I put out about how I wish there could just be a summon couch button in any video game is...
That was a good tweet. That was a really good tweet.
Is a game called Wraith the Oblivion Afterlife, which is set in the world of darkness. If you've heard of something like Vampire the Masquerade and those...
Oh, yeah. It's
the same world, same universe. So
very cool.
Modern fantasy horror. And the reason it's got such a long name is it's based on an RPG called Wraith the Oblivion. So they then have to add a dash afterlife to show this is a different game.
Because it's Vampire the Masquerade, Wraith the Oblivion, something to something. That's quite cool.
Werewolf the Moon or something.
The Awuaning.
And that is terrifying because it's... I like horror games like Resident Evil where, yes, you're put up against monsters and sometimes there are these insurmountable threats, but you've got a shotgun.
Like that, the big guy. There's like a big guy,
Mr. X, I think is his name.
He just walks towards you. You can't escape him.
Yeah, you can't really escape him, but you have a shotgun and particularly it's not super long and there are these safe zones, so you kind of got this ebb and flow and you're not first person. I'm sure if he was coming towards me in VR, I would brick it. I would just be terrified. But this game, there are no guns. It's a typical horror adventure. You've got to explore a mansion, work out why you were killed in this sort of weird cult thing. You're caught between life and death, and there are these specters, and they just want you extra dead.
Double dead.
So you have to like hide behind objects and creep around. The scariest part is you can hide in closets, and you can put it in front of you, but it has slight gaps in. So you can see the Wraith just stood there and you're sort of holding your breath, waiting for it to pass by.
Oh, because the headset has a microphone, doesn't it? Does it listen? If you make a noise, can they hear you?
I don't know. It was definitely those moments though where even though I know I could just go whoop and take the headset off, I felt so trapped in the moment. I was like, I'm not doing anything. I'm just gonna let it do its business, leave. And then I'm going to buck it across the room. And then it hears you because you run. You've not been stealthy. You've just gone clomp, 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 clomp. It turns around and chases you.
And you get double deaded and you got to start again.
But there's some great moments. Like another game that might be more everyone's speed is a game called Vacation Simulator. Sort of like Job Simulator, if you've heard of that one. And you just got to help people out. And there are these little robot characters that come and talk to you, and I will find myself talking back to them, being sassy, even though they can't hear me. I'm just being like, get your own fucking ice cream, yeet it at them. Like, it's so much fun because the best thing in VR is picking something up and throwing it. Because in real life, you can't do that. You very rarely can you just yeet something as much as you want. VR is like, hey, all those inhibitions you've had, do it. There's an annoying kid, just pull out a VR slingshot and just ping him in the face.
Well, because of course, when you throw something in VR, I imagine what you're really doing is going to be like Wii bowling, right? You're going to hold onto a button to hold it and then let go to throw it.
Yeah, so the control, this is the right controller. So it's got this sort of circular top, and then there's two buttons. There's a trigger at the back, and there's a trigger on the side. So if you want to hold it, you pull in both, and then as you throw it, you would let go. But it's got this on, and you can sort of hold it in other ways, so you don't just yeet your controller.
You've got to be so careful, though, I imagine. You've got to be so careful not to actually yeet your controller.
And yeah, some games do hand tracking as well. So if you want to point in certain games, you just hold the side button, but you wouldn't be holding the trigger. So it's like you're pointing at something. And if you sort of get in the mood for it all, it feels like you're in it. And that's why it's so much fun. And it's gaming in an entirely different way than I think most people are used to. And so even though the games maybe aren't as high quality in certain ways, you know, these sort of things wouldn't fly on an Xbox or a PS5. You can have so much more fun doing this because you're in the moment. Like when I block an attack and until we fall, that's not me like watching a character hold up a sword. I am holding up a sword and then swinging with it back at this character. And
that's so much cooler. Yeah,
doing cool.
Like Xbox and PC and PlayStation, right? Obviously the big rivalry, but like fundamentally, you have an input device and a screen, and then there's the rest of everything around you. VR is a whole different game. I was gonna say ball game, but they're not all ball games. Some of them are like fighting games. A whole different game.
Very good.
Whole different video game.
And so yeah, I just so want lockdown to end because I want to be able to play this with people. I want to be able to put it on someone's head and be like, give this a go. I had some friends over at the weekend. We were outside in the garden eating pizza. It was awesome. First time we've been able to see each other in months because it's back to sort of rule of six style stuff. And I so wished I could sort of say, come inside. I've pushed all the stuff out of my living room to give me a big, huge space. We'll put this headset on and you'll have so much fun. But then obviously sharing something that goes on your face, probably not the smartest idea, particularly right now. But I so wish we could do it. And there are a few, they actually suggested a couple of ideas. At some point, I'd like to take it outside because then that'd be such a massive play area.
That'd be good. That'd be really good. Just someone watching you in your garden, like creeping around, be like, oh no, the wraith.
Yeah, because I've got the Quest, so it's wireless, it's standalone, it's pretty decent, and it's fairly decently priced. It's only like, I'd say only £300, but that's compared to the others, which can be like 600 plus, and then you need a PC on top of that, so you're spending like $1,000, if not way more. So, but otherwise, yeah, VR, so much good. I knew it was meant to be fun, but it's if you like gaming, or even if you're not a big fan of gaming, this probably fixes a lot of the problems you might have with it. There are a few little issues, like in games like Wraith, where you're exploring this huge haunted mansion that obviously you can't actually be there. You do have to move around with the analog stick sometimes. And whilst it has these features to sort of vignette the camera so you don't get as motion sickness, it will make you feel sick a little bit. So you can't do super long play sessions. But other games like Beat Saber, or where they have a smaller map, like Vacation Simulator, and you can physically move, no problems, because you are moving as much in the world as you think you are.
Well, yeah, a good for VR there. I really want to try VR. The thing I want to try in VR is I want to do Tabletop Simulator in VR and play D&D and be able to swap, like, if you could swap between like a perspective of the table like a real player, and then swap into the eyes of your character and look around at ground level. Because like I can imagine playing like a fighter, like Rowena from the Godless Land game, like an archer, or like Renna from our game, and like looking and like finding a target in the distance and like judging maybe if they have cover, and like finding a character, finding an enemy that you can like get an angle on and going for them. That'd be so cool if you could see it from ground level.
I think stuff like that could be really cool. And I think there's definitely the potential as VR gets more popular, as more people can get these headsets, that there is the opportunity to do things like that. And particularly when we've become so much more used this year to having to hang out virtually, the potential for being able to then augment Hangouts using virtual stuff feels like it's a bit easier to do. Like so many, like when I was reporting on tech quite a bit recently, so many improvements on tech for this year when they've been coming out with new iterations are things to make video calling easier. Like I think that was something that, for like I watched the Apple event, the spring loaded event for work last week, and yeah, pretty much everything was like, this helps with, this has a better speaker, this has a way so you won't talk over each other as much, this does this does that, and it was like pretty much every single product was like, this will help you with video calls, and you can tell obviously that's something they want to focus on.
I hope that this focus on like improving the quality of online interactions goes up, because obviously we haven't been able to see each other, like us and our friendship group, because of COVID, but like we're all going to move away eventually, and like we're all going to find different places in the country, different places in the world to live. So, you know, everyone living in different cities and having jobs isn't going to be too different to everyone having to stay inside because of COVID when it comes to things like our D&D games. So
yeah, I mean, and we already live in like different parts of the country.
Yeah,
some of our friends live like yes in London. Some of our friends live
wherever. I don't know where people live. It's not like we could play in person anyway. So yeah, I hope that continues, because it'll be staying in touch with people who don't live near you is really important, and it's nice. It's a positive side effect of COVID is that that's been improved.
Seeing people is good.
Yes, it's seeing your friends is good, but when it's safe. Hamish, you've virtually augmented this hangout, and we hope that we've virtually augmented whatever you've been doing while listening to this podcast. Of course, we have to record over Discord because of COVID and that, but we're doing our best. We're keeping the content flowing, and we hope that you've enjoyed listening. As always, we would like to say thank you to Storyblocks, who provide World Goes Wild, our theme tune. We'd like to ask you, the listeners, to if you're listening on YouTube, hi YouTube, leave a comment down below. What was your favorite bit? Did you keep score in the quiz? What did you get in the quiz? Give us a like, give us a subscribe. While you're on your computer, head over to twitch.tv/boyreview. We stream there. Hamish streams mostly Fortnite on Wednesdays at 7:30. Check in there to see some good Fortnite content.
I finally hit 20 followers, and I'm going to try and start doing a second stream. I'm trying to pin down a day where I can like consistently do it. Saturday feels like quite a good day. Just trying to work things out.
Well, we'll see. You can check in and see what we find. If you're listening on your phone, try and leave us a review. Hopefully there's a little review button somewhere on your podcatcher app, and see where that takes you, and leave us a review. If you don't think we've earned a 5-star review yet, that is completely fine. Tell us what we can do to improve, and because it's still relatively early days. You know, this might be episode 34, but you know, we're still learning. We're still learning every day. If you want to get in touch with us, the best way is to use the hashtag BoyReview on Twitter, and that will bring my attention to your tweet, and I will mention it on the show if it's appropriate to mention, if you want it to be mentioned. I think that's all we have to say at the end of the show here, which means that it's a goodbye from me.
It's a goodbye from me. And it's a good goodbye from us. Bye.